Hey, Jim Creel here from Wild Horses. What we're going to do today is do an installation on some lower door seals on Paul's 1971 Ford Bronco. There's Paul, the proud owner of this Bronco, and he's all happy because he's going to finally get door seals after like 3 years. So we're going to show you some tools first, some basic stuff. Pair of scissors, just regular scissors. We've got our 3M black super weather strip adhesive, which is our preferred adhesive, and then we've got a bunch of these large binder clips, and so we'll step back and kind of show you how this works here. So what we're doing first is we're going to lay a bead of this black weather stripping adhesive in the groove along the front portion. You can see how we're just laying that in there. We're going to go down right before the area of the first push clip. Just lay it in there. You don't need too much because this stuff will expand as you position the weather stripping in place. And you don't want to use too much because then you'll have it gooping all out the sides. So we start with the top screw. We're going to put that in. You don't have to tighten it really hard. And then that weather stripping just goes right down on the groove or on the lip that sticks out from the door. We've got our weather stripping adhesive in there. We won't bore you with showing you how to put the sealer in the weather stripping again. We'll just come back as soon as I'm done. Get your pins lined up. You don't really have to push them in. You just want to get an idea of where they are. There's a little pushing and pulling of the weather stripping to get it into place. And once we have it where we want it, you can go back with these clips and literally go right up the whole thing to hold that weather stripping in place where you want it. You don't have to cover every inch, but the upper level, you can't, well, yeah, you can get in there too. So we'll go ahead and clamp those down as well. Then we can pull that back out, and we'll see right here it kind of comes to the end of the lip. At the very end of the lip, you want to put a little slit in the back side of this piece of weather stripping so it will easily come around. I don't know if you can see that. There's just a certain spot where it makes the transition. Okay, at that point, what I like to do what we're going to do now is put the weather stripping adhesive into the corner on the rocker panel all the way down from front to back. And you don't really want it out on the flat portion of the rocker, but I like to just put it in this seam right here. I'll make two passes, one that's kind of right in the notch, and the other I like to make a pass right through where the push pins are going to go in. And what we'll do, you go right up to where the lip is, where you're going to have to make another cut. Okay, so now, like I said, I'll make a second pass. And I'll go right at the level where the push pins are going through. I put a little goop in the hole for each push pin. That's just, I don't know, the way I like to do it. And after this, we'll actually let this weather stripping adhesive set up for a few minutes so it can get stickier and tackier, and that actually will hold the weather stripping in place easier than just throwing it into these holes the second we put the adhesive on. Okay, now I'm going to come back and push each of the push pins through the hole. We've let the weather stripping adhesive set up for a little while and it's real tacky. So you just sort of take this and line it up. I like to kind of start each one. Kind of get the whole thing in position. And then you just push them clips right through. And then this Bronco, of course, has no side tank, so literally I can reach around the back and literally pull on each one of those clips just to make sure it's really getting all the way into place the way we want it. Now sometimes when you do have a fuel tank back here, you might find that you actually have to trim down the clips. Okay, so now we've pushed that into place, and I like to come back and sort of reposition this area right here at the bottom. Sometimes I'll peel that back and put a little extra weather stripping adhesive in the corners, and we'll let that set up for a few minutes. So now I'm going to come back and I'm going to lay a bead of weather stripping adhesive into the portion that goes right here. Okay, now we're going to take the screwdriver that's all loaded up with adhesive. We're going to bring this up to the top and just start in the hole there, and again come back to our weather stripping. Now once again, we use these clamps, these little clamps. These work great. You can find these at your office supply place. And they're easy to reposition if you don't like what you're seeing. Like I don't like what I'm seeing on this one. There we go. Just tighten that screw. Now once again, as we get down to this transition right here, we're going to cut a little slit in that weather stripping where it makes the change from having a lip to attach to just being flat. So I'll come right down here, line everything up, and that goes right there like that. Now what I'm seeing on this one is we need to kind of bring some material down a little bit because we're not flowing into the corner right there the way I want to. So we're actually going to cut a little, redo that cut. Then you want to start right there at that position, and we can go back up from there with our clamps. Okay, so then if you look, You just kind of push this one right into the groove where it goes. I've got a little adhesive coming out there. Just wipe it with my finger. It's best to get the extra out. I don't like seeing a bunch of weather stripping ooze out. And so you can go sparingly. We used maybe a third of a tube to do both. We used about a third of a tube of this in order to do both lower door weather stripping. So now all we do is give it time to dry, and that's pretty much it. We'll come back in a second and test it out for you. Okay, so we've got all our binder clips off, all our adhesive is set up, and here we go. Bronco door shut. I'd have to say that worked pretty good. Come around here, see our newfangled sealing of the door. And that's kind of all there is to it. Hopefully that'll give a few of you some tips that'll make the job of installing your lower door seals less frustrating. And be sure to check us out at wildhorses4x4.com. Thanks for watching.